Few points. You've heard the phrase, I'm sure, a million times, build it and ask for permission. I didn't say that at any of the other hearings we've had before you. But when I learned that this property was almost all in the velocity zone, and the rest of it's in the AE zone, and they presented it as an in-ground pool to you and to Concom, I now am going to tell you that I believe this is a question of bad faith, and build it and ask for permission later. I've been in other cases involved like this, and historic commissions have said, and Concoms have said, no, we're not going to do that. I'd like you to consider that. The reason we're making a point about the Concom is because the chance that Concom will allow this project to go this way is close to zero. And what's the point of giving an advisory opinion on something that's not likely to be built? It's not going to be approved. So my suggestion would be to postpone everything until the Concom makes its decision. Another point. I just went again today to both houses, Pam's house and Sally's house. And I urge you to go yourselves. The impact of that wall is gigantic. It's massive. The impact on Pam's house is immense. Same with Sally. From Sally's house, it's not so bad, but if you walk down to the pool, to the structure, it's immense. It's massive. And as somebody pointed out, the structure is not just a pool. It's a pergola. It's a living area. It's a kitchen. It's a big thing, and it's bigger than the house. So please go take a look. Thank you.
Again, there's no reason to go to conservation on a proposal that's not in front of you that may not be approved by you, and then go back to conservation again, and you're going to be ping-ponging back and forth. The whole idea is to present something that may be acceptable to the commission so that we can go to conservation. You may want more grading, you may want more trees, you may want, and we don't want to say, well, if you come back here, we'll add a tree, we'll go back to conservation, actually we have to add a tree. So it makes sense to get an idea of what, if any, could be approvable here. And then at that point, it has to go to conservation commission before you could do any of the work. If it doesn't go to if it doesn't pass conservation, obviously there's a problem.
Okay, Sean. So, conservation commission is going to be the determining factor, right?
Possible.
So why are we wasting our time?
Because we need to know, if we're going to grade further.
We don't want to talk about that now. I mean, I think what's been said here, it's a waste of our time to be even discussing this design aspect of it.
That's
When the conservation commission is going to determine what is going to happen. Is that true?
I don't think it's a waste of our time. I hope we continue with it. Because I think there are something to say about what you're proposing.
right.
But I'd like to hear more comments from the audience, from the public.
The way this works is if you were to give an approval, it would go to the building inspector, and the building inspector gives a permit, and then it goes to Concom and the Board of Health. That's how the last one worked. And the question is, what is it that they are giving to you and the building inspector? Are the plans accurate? So it's a whole question of the accuracy of what has been given to you and what will be given to them. I mean, and from every viewpoint. This is what worries me, is the accuracy. And somehow or another, can that be determined? Is there disagreement about the accuracy of the plans that were submitted earlier and what has been found by the Mr. Beals, I believe, Mr. Beals? Should that be something that you would look at, accuracy of plans?
want to say, at the last hearing that we came to, there was a strong indication by the chair, which was not you at the time, I believe, that if Mr. Bronca brought down the wall several feet and bermed it up several feet, there would be a deal. We waited for months and months and months, and we never got a plan, and then when we did, there was nothing like that, and we were disappointed.
Again, I just want to stress that this was the result of meetings with several parties and an agreement that this could go forward. Not that you had any part of that, but that it could go forward. So that's why we're presenting this. And we're gladly open to considering other things, and that's why we're here tonight. You know, this is not something, it's not an application, obviously. It's not something set in stone. It's no joking, pun intended. It's something, yeah, it's something that, this was something that was agreed upon as a concept to see where we could go from here to move this whole thing forward.
Okay, so let me just point out again, the plan that you submitted to us was a plan for March of 2023. The plan D. It was the plan D that was submitted to the original building permit application in March of 2023.
Oh, you mean in the package that I gave you? Okay, and the reason I said,
Yeah, what you submitted to us for preliminary review was exactly the same thing between plans.
right, that was done, and the reason,
March of 2023. Are you agreed on that?
yes, absolutely.
It's exactly the same.
Yeah, and the reason that was put into your package,
Any change in the elevation of this, aside from piling up 30 walls? Any change?
in the elevation of the wall, you mean, or?
In this proposal, in the elevation?
No, what was submitted to you in 2023, I purposely put in there because it was what I would consider an incomplete plan or an improper plan that didn't show what was supposed to be shown.
I'm just trying to understand, what
So-
are you asking us to review here?
Well, I'm asking if there's any possibility of anything similar or this would be appropriate to take care of the problem. That's what we're asking. We're not,
You're
if we're,
submitting exactly the same thing that we rejected in the last proposal.
it's, no, it's not. It's not the same thing.
It's better drawings, it's better renderings of vegetation.
There's 3 feet of fill being brought up against the wall to lower the wall.
Or piling drains.
We heard that from the other landscape architect that was brought before us. He had the same, more or less,
Idea.
solution, which was to put a lot of vegetation and even to put some kind of terracing to create more vegetation against a bunker that was built without our permission that's 9 feet or 8 feet tall. So that was the plan then. It seems to be the plan now, just with better renderings. It's just not really what we wanted, and we were hoping there would be some sort of resolution if the applicant had worked with the various folks who were willing to sit down, and I think maybe during that group. And the idea of a saw cut to get the whole structure lower, there's no indication of that here. Just like putting more dirt against it doesn't make it lower.
That's-
It's still just as high as the base
I-
plan of the house.
One of the gentlemen that we met with, that was his recommendation.
Right.
That's why that's what you're seeing tonight.
So you also haven't addressed a number of things, and I'm looking at the letter here from the commission. Notice of determination of application for certificate of appropriateness. Have you reviewed this?
I saw the, yeah.
You saw the letter?
But there was going to be, yeah, there was a denial, and obviously, there would be a new application with, if there were changes to the, what conditions that are
Right,
here.
because that application is, would have to be resubmitted with all
Correct.
new
Correct,
designs.
correct,
And that's not really our account, it's just preliminary review.
correct.
Yeah, so one of the things we said that, we talked about the overall scale and mass of this facility. It's an outdoor entertainment complex. It will be used as an outdoor entertainment complex. There's a pool, there's a spa, there's a square foot entertainment plaza on the point. How is this appropriate?
I would almost beg to differ. I think at the Lee's Wharf, you have more than 2,000 feet of tables and chairs out on the,
Commercial restaurant.
Commercial restaurant.
well, you're talking half dozen, one sixth of another. Yeah, this is, yeah.
Also it closes at 8, if I'm not mistaken. Will this close at 8?
No, it's a private residence, obviously. I mean, we obviously, as part of the application, the lighting part of it and everything has to be addressed. That's not why we're here tonight, because that's after the fact.
How would you light a 2,000 square foot entertainment complex and have it be appropriate? To the point. I took a picture from my porch last night. And, I'm on the west side of the room. And, the only lights I could see from my porch were the lights on the bridge. It's all the lights on the bridge. There's no light down here. In fact, I mean, it's in our guidelines, it's, casting light on the neighbor's property is
Right.
appropriate. So how are you gonna light this thing?
Obviously, as part of the application, that's what would have to be addressed. This is not, again, we're here, because if you don't like any of this, there's no sense even in starting to address the lighting and putting the application together, because then we're wasting your time.
So you're going to take scale, right, so
Still
smaller.
Small.
smaller, and not just piling dirt against the walls and making picture, but the scale of the overall structure. It is not appropriate, and we said so in the original design.
I'm not sure what scale you would be looking at. I mean, what's an appropriate scale, I guess. I mean, when you say that.
John, what has been discussed at previous hearings, John Moriarty has talked about cutting the wall down
Okay.
at least 3 or 4 feet with a saw cut, concrete saw. Attorney Findale, who is representing the neighborhood group, also mentioned that if it was brought down to the size of a normal stone wall, 3.5 feet, let's say, so we were looking at 3.5 feet on the wall, that it was maybe acceptable. Is that true, Mr. Feingold? Close. Okay. I'm just bringing up the solutions that have been presented to us at prior hearings.
Okay.
Certainly you're not proposing that, but is that something you're considering?
We're considering everything. I mean, that's why we're here. I mean, this plan was basically produced from a consensus of what can we do to make this better. Now, if this is not short of cutting.
Okay, let me just remind everybody about one thing that happened at the meeting that was February 24th. I rewatched that tape just to remind myself of what the discussion was. And there was a discussion with the applicant where it was put to him exactly, are you willing to cut the wall? And his answer was, well, no, it's already built. Well, yeah, we know it's already built, but there was no consideration for cutting the wall because it was already built. Has that changed?
I would have to ask the applicant, but I mean, it's a draconian thing if something else can be resolved. It can be resolved in other ways. That's where we're looking at it.
John, yes, we did consider Robert Branca, 2015 Main Road. I am the applicant. I met with John Moriarty several times and some other neighbors. I hired consultants that John suggested because we wanted to make sure that we knew exactly what the facts are, just as he described. What are the heights here? And this wall matches the height there. It's 1 foot higher here than it is there. That's the difference. So those are the facts. The picture that showed the old wall and the existing wall, that's not the foundation of the house. That was the old retaining wall that's higher than the new one that supported the hill that was there. There was one on the other side, again, higher than the wall that's there now. And that was approved by this commission as it existed then. It did slope down, but 3/4 of that project, if I built it to there, that's at grade with the house. Right about probably there. That's at grade with the house. If I just built the patio on what was there, we wouldn't have been here. And I do need to correct the record. I had 2 building permits, complete plans that completely describe what's there, what was built. They're in accordance with the plans that were built. They are on record. I brought them, we discussed them because that came up last time, and I was accused of bad faith before, and I proved that that was not the case. The plan, they're on file. They're in the building department. I brought them here. I included them in my last application. Now,
I'm looking at, the plan from March of 2023. The one you submitted to the building department, the building permit that you called, inline, ventilated pool, and spa.
yeah, there were 2. There was also filed with a retaining wall.
And then you filed a subsequent one, after you got the first one, you filed a subsequent one.
And we didn't start construction until we had both.
But what I was curious about, one of the things I was curious about in this March 2023 drawing is, you took great pains, it seems, to note the height of various structures around your house. So I count 4 places where you note the height of stone walls.
I didn't prepare the plan, my engineer did. Yes.
What I also noticed is there's not a single notation indicating the height of what you're proposing to build.
The building permit for the application for the wall had all of that, and that is at grade with my house, that entire thing. And if you look at the notes, it references the retaining wall plans in those plans for that application. I had a pool contractor and a wall contractor. They both filed everything, and I had Cytec was the prior engineer. I relied on professionals.
I don't think we need to, re-litigate this. I think you've heard the opinions of the commission, I mean, that's the purpose of a preliminary review.
So if I could ask some questions, if I were to saw cut it, because draconian, that was John's word, when he saw what was built, when he actually came on the site and saw that, built in accordance with the plans that supported the building permit. We discussed that. We looked at what the certificate denial language was in the opinion, and it talked about sloping of the land. And it was John's idea to pick up, to tie into the septic system height and bring it across.
It's not our job to design.
I'm just explaining,
Or to tell you, which pieces might be appropriate. What we need to see is an entire plan that we could consider. We need lighting, we need, elevations, we need, to know details about the pergola as it sits on the deck. We need to know the size of the deck. I mean, you've shown us the same thing you submitted to us before. The deck is the same size, the structure is the same height,
correct.
right? So, if you want us to review a new proposal, we'll do it. But you haven't given us a new proposal.
Okay, well, so I was asking
And let's not
questions.
speculate. I mean, we gave you, we gave you something after we denied the previous proposal. We're not gonna go through that again. If you come back to us with something that shows that you're keen on actually proposing something that we might approve, then we could discuss that.
Okay, I
But
do,
we're not gonna go back and discuss all of those.
okay, just a few things. The lighting was in there. It's underwater lighting in the pool. We didn't propose any additional lighting. There's lighting already on the house. Just to be clear.
Like I said, we've heard from the commission about, we've heard some thoughts from the commission, without her vote or approve anything. We're here to give you more impressions.
That's fine, thank you.
I think you should go to the Conservation Commission to get, that's a preliminary review. Take it to the Conservation Commission, see what they have to say.
We will, but again, we would prefer to proceed with historic, because if we're not going to get past that, we're trying to stay out of court. We're trying to keep the town out of court.
You will get past the historic someday. Somehow. Well, I mean, well, there's no evidence at this point, no.
But again, Conservation Commission is they're experts at that, that's their purview, we'll go there when we go there. We're trying to get, and if the design changes, what's the point of going there? We'll speak to them informally, we'll do that, we're already doing that, we've already done that, and we'll continue to do that. But again, they're two separate things.
Are you confident that the Concom is going to agree that you're not in the velocity zone?
I'm not confident of anything until we go there.
Okay, but you have the drawings and you have the zone, and your house
I relied on my engineers, I'm not an engineer.
is right up against, according to this information heard tonight, the house is right up against that original velocity zone.
I didn't build the house.
So anything outside of that is in the zone, and it could hurt your neighbors, and it could hurt the whole area where the water has to go.
Again, I have an engineer that will make those determinations for them, and again, that's not Historic Commission.
Yeah.
I think we can wrap this up.
Mr. Veronica, then, in order to get the permits for the pool, then you did go to the Conservation Commission?
My engineer did SciTech, yeah.
So that's not for the Conservation Commission.
They have, again, I wasn't involved in that. I hired licensed professionals.
And so, I know that, so let's wrap this up. Like I said, we've given you our thoughts.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, business. So we're going, I think, start with what we think is most important. Monitors reports. There we go.
Okay, so on 1878 Drift Road, Sally Hardy, completed her project of replacing gutters and you did it with photographs of those in the file. That's all done. 1813 Main Road, Ellen DuBois, she completed her shed, commission. Oh, good. So that's completed. And the last one I did was, Deborah Lawrence solar panel installation. That's actually done in July, so that's completed. I think she, 1940. I think there's also a gutters project there, and I'm not sure if that is underway yet. I'll have to check it out. And that's my own response.
Okay. I have a few things. First is about meeting day. So at the last meeting, we voted to change the meeting date to the first Tuesday of every month. And we said we would do that starting in October. And that actually doesn't work for me in October. You want to know the rooms available? So what we
The
think?
thing is, in the bylaw, it says that we meet on Wednesday.
It does say that in the bylaw?
Well, in the bylaw.
Oh, we might have.
Not the bylaw.
It says it in the.
It could be rules and regs, I mean, they could be changed.
They can be changed.
The bylaws.
No, not the bylaw, rules and regulations.
Okay, so we have latitude if we want to change it. I think you said that when it's already posted for the year, we should get.
Yeah.
I think
So,
that makes sense.
Well, as long as we have this rule.
and to change, well,
That's a big problem.
yeah, so that is a big one. So the planning board generally meets their first and third Tuesdays of every month. Now, they haven't signed up for 2026, so I would say.
Well, good for you, you got in
But
there.
they're not
Well,
gonna.
that's not great. What if we done the second
So I'm checking on the stuff for you.
That's possible, the second Tuesday?
That is, there's another commission,
Oh.
who's second, with
Second, it's all fully booked.
so it's a little bit up in the air at this point.
So we have
I'm
to
still trying to do it.
see what rooms are available, and then we'll work out.
So,
No, let's see what rooms are available. I'm telling you, I've gone through the basement of the town hall. And I've gone to a small meeting room upstairs in the selectmen, but it's definitely. this is by far the appropriate room for this kind of commission and the hearings that we have. And so that would be the priority.
So how would you feel about the select board?
Not, it's not as well, it's not,
How about the different day of the week?
that's fine. Fine with Wednesday.
I think there's another thing that we're doing is also, is we do not only have this meeting, we do
That's right.
And so I think, you know, anything that we plan for, right, we can all kind of figure out what to do that plan, as long as we have notice. And to go plan, to go to the office of the select board, and we have to pay a special fee. So that wherever that ends up.
Okay, so I'll explore, Wednesday, and if it's a matter of our rules, then I think that requires a public hearing to change it. So we would have to send this out to you.
Okay, for sidewalk girls.
Okay, so one more announcement, well, two more. So we are now part of the building department's official sign-off process. And so we use this application for permit-wise. And it has, you know, Conservation Commission, County Board, and now we're on the list, so we're, you know, on the list of entities that have to sign off.
Like, how to sign off for the permit, doesn't get issued. Carol, do you have anything on that?
And also you could upload documents to it, so upload certificates to it, you can upload the plans, and so on. So it's a great feature, I think, it's a really good feature.
Well, keep things official and,
Yes,
you know, removing confusion or misstep.
and it will also keep us in the loop on the end process, which we've never done in the loop. So we'll have to sign off before we do it.
If the gentleman tonight said they had a building permit, and he said, well, you can't.
Yeah, and actually, I went on, I got a notice about that in the email, and it's permanentized application, 2 days ago. And so I go, oh, and I actually put a note, we now approved the notice. So, anyway, I think it's great, and it's going to improve our operations. So the last thing is I want to introduce Mark Thompson, who's been patiently sitting through this
Very interesting.
kind of meeting. But anyway, Mark is an architect and is interested in joining the commission. I'll let you introduce yourself.
Well, thank you.
So from there,
We're very, very interesting and very challenging. Having seen some, thanks today, seen some of the earlier tapes of these particular projects. My wife, father, with Figure School for about a half a century, and retired. And I felt so bad that I was enjoying myself and I practiced in that portion of that practice. And felt so bad that she was now having to kind of fun. I was reading back to these conversations of the reality that we now written. So I decided to retire. I looked at our inventory, and there were about 600-700 projects that we've done in that period. Mostly in traditional and historical settings. Institutions, campuses that was rich with experience and would like to actually reinforce the culture. And that was basically what we were doing. There were many historic projects that we were doing to do historic houses and local and urban culture. And this would be a way for me to not just pass everything by, but enjoy it at a different level and for other people. So I'm very interested in my doing that today. So that's good. Also, it's 21 difficult and other meetings that we have. I think it's going to be something to put on the big screen in
not usually this bad. Usually the court friendly meetings, and so I'm worried about.
But he might mention, since he moved to Fifth Road, that he's on Fifth Road. What he does to the
Well-
property, I think that's interesting.
It's a beautiful four-acre property, but the acres is more than 4 foot long. And it dates back to the 1780s. When I walked onto the property and into the house I went to first, this was a signal to me that there was some condition that we needed to address. I then saw that as soon as we offered purchase, all kinds of issues in the Woodward officially, and I wanted to know why the difference sold to us. Well, we heard of the young ones who wanted to restore the house, which was more expensive by far than doing anything else. The barn also went down in the 1960s, and finally, meeting with a wonderful person, Rick Hughes, a Catholic person. She actually bought photographs of what the barn looked like. So we studied barns up and down Main Street, and on the foundation, this garage had at the time just didn't seem that there was wonderful snow. So we took the top off and put back what we thought would be the corner. To our amazement, the photographs of the barn just after the fire was put out are exactly what we built. That was just happenstance. But because it was a tradition of barn building, that was not stylistically given. So it had the substance of you need to accomplish certain things to turn that delightful. And then there's a little boathouse. The boathouse is away from the water, and there's a pier. And the pier allowed the owners for centuries to take their sheep off onto one of these wonderful flat bottom that big boats and to market them in Newport. So this was both the pier. We did have to raise it 2 feet just so that we could see the pier at high time. And we raised the boathouse, so we scooped the pier down and I restored the 2 minutes all of the wood on the inside, with one on the outside. So we're living in a kitchen that is reflective of the whole experience.
When the sheep can be sold at the market, when the sheep can be sold at the market in Newport.
Well, it may come to that, but we're now converting the barn that the children are carrying, talking very much about it, and keep it their own. And so we need that, and actually going back to the little chicken house. We've enlarged that so that we can put a cart and some other tools. But otherwise, it's very formal, it's a good project for all of the centuries, but I think it's historic in the sense that I really have more of a discussion with what this
What number is it?
What's the number of
1398.
1398?
I'm 1702 now.
Oh, you are? So there's a very long driveway, 600 and some odd feet, that leads down to it between 2 other properties that are multi-temporary. But there are then 2 other properties that were built at about the same time. One is in difficult condition, but in good, but built over
And the process is that we need to write a letter to the select board, expressing the interest in joining the commission and telling a little bit about your qualifications. And then we'll,
Put it on the agenda for
yeah, I think you can go, should go, maybe.
Yeah, you should go.
Yeah,
You should go and introduce yourself, and tell me voting about you, and you can say hi, you know, who you are, and then I'll vote to approve you, and then you can start.
Sorry, I missed,
You go to the select board meeting. If you can get your letter in now, it will be on the agenda at the next meeting. Yeah, call around.
You don't have to go if it's not possible. But it's nice.
Nice to know you and.
that is nice. Check.
Actually, you check with all of us.
Yeah, and so possibly between October 15th.
If you got approved that night, you can run over here and just set the table.
It has to be sworn in.
That's where you're gonna be sworn in November.
Yeah, it's around the October and.
I don't think I want to comment that tonight. I think get it to the state and then understand what to do. The drawing that is being presented is actually partial sentence out of one quarter. But it's the context around that that I'm interested in.
Yeah, that part was missing.
Both from water and from the neighboring.
This is a pattern, this is a pattern. This is what.
They haven't been a problem all the way along. They never presented any drawing that would make any sense. Yeah, yeah, right.
Now we can vote.
Okay. Yeah.
Alrighty.
I'd just like to say that there is, some of you may know this, there is a group called the Shallop Planning Group that's planning for Revolution 250 commemoration. And we've invited and they've agreed to come. The captain of the Mayflower is going to bring Shallop on a tour of the south coast and the islands. And he's going to spend 2 days here in Westport. And there are going to be events surrounding that. And I'm hoping that the Historical Commission will be interested in this. And also, we're doing, of course, a lot of research. And it's going to be based on the fact that Captain Paul Cuffey, who was the cutting off Old Dartmouth and Westport, did ran the blockade between Westport and Nantucket to deliver supplies to Nantucket, which were used during the war but having troubles. That's how this all began. So everything is sort of situated around that, but it's also going to be a celebration of the shallop in Westport and Dartmouth and Nantucket. And the cutting Mark's Cove, Katie Narrum, then coming through Marcus Vineyard, et cetera. So I'm hoping that you all will have ideas and that you be part of the committee. The captain for Westport is, the captains for Eastport is Dave Leslie. So if you're interested in being involved, you can contact her. We're now in the process of asking the opinion of the people who live in that area, including businesses there and the fishermen and so forth, as to how they see this person.
The ship is actually going to be into our.
Yes, the ship will come to Westport Point, and there will be a tender with it. And the tender is the William Underwood, which is a 1941 sardine boat. It's been restored, and it's also going to accommodate and feed food. So all through the whole trip, it's going to be professionally
there's a history of the development of the point, because as you know, the point developed starting because of the revolution, because people from Rhode Island came over here to get away from Palm Island. Our house is 1776, as is the neighbors next door, their brothers-in-law, and they built houses and they came from the Concord. I supported came from the Concord. So this is a kind of a history, and I'd like you all to look at that, see if it can be developed any further, and think of things maybe we could do in the historic district to celebrate that. We thought about banners in the two houses, and just silly things like that. Pardon me?
Next summer.
Yes, next summer, August, probably around August, I think 17th, 18th, will be less words to signs and we have a grant. We cover a lot of it and very donations for people who make donations, so it's financially viable. Men out there is very hungry. They're taking very much. It'll include the Marine Academy. They have a all-country center.
Mass Maritime?
Mass Maritime. And that will be its last course. And go back to Maritime. And the captain is Whit Murray. They're going to have skits. They're going to be in costume. We hope to have chance to come and all kinds of things. A big thing. We hope that the fishermen and everybody find it out and decide in this. Actually, you're exactly right. But we want to